Hello friends, today's topic is my homeless story. Let's rant.
Since I posted that video of me saying some of the difficulties that I've been facing now that I'm no longer homeless, and a lot of people have been reaching out and showing their love and support, but other people have been asking, like, how did I end up in that predicament? And I see other people are facing that predicament as well. So I'm in a place where God has been telling me to tell the story. So this will be a series that I'm going to create. It's going to be multiple parts because it is a kind of extensive story. And I'm telling this story with hopes that it will help others identify abandonment issues, self-confidence issues, and being able to understand discernment and setting boundaries. But also, if anybody's going through that same predicament, that you're not alone in these seasons. And that's what I want to share this for. So in order for me to really start this story, I do have to go back because the individual that I will be talking about was a best friend of mine, and we met when I was in high school. I'm 35 years old, so I was in high school in 2008. So after high school, me and her, we were a part of a friend group, and in that friend group we were not the closest of friends in the friend group. So sometimes you have your friend group where you have like your best friend in the friend group and other people that you're really cool with, but me and her just were never really close, but we always were in the same rooms and stuff like that with each other. So after high school, the friend group kind of broke apart, and me and her she reached out to me afterwards, and she was just like, we should hang out, we should get to know each other. And I was like, okay, cool, that's cool with me. So we started hanging out, and in that time that after high school, I was going through such a hard time just with family things. My mother was a recovering drug addict. We were moving from place to place. We've never had true stability. My stepfather was homeless himself and living on our couch, even though they were separated and they parted different ways. So the dynamic of stuff that was going on at home was all over the place. My mother had just lost her job, and I had made the decision after high school that I wasn't going to go to college, that I was going to stay and work to help out. That does play a factor into this because I've always, now that I'm older, I find myself being a over people pleaser at that point in time. I seen myself being an over people pleaser at that time, and that continued to just connect throughout this whole story. So me trying to be the head of household, trying to make sure everybody was good, I was stressed out. I didn't have any friends, and so she was somebody that I would be comfortable with and be confident with hanging out and going places, or her family would invite me around and we would just hang out. We were just both going through very difficult times, like trying to find ourselves at this age, which is common for somebody that's like 18, 19, coming out of high school and shit like that. Excuse my language. But what I realized is that me going over her house, that her family dynamic wasn't the best either. So noticing how her and her mother's relationship was, and how her mother was so codependent on her, just like my mother was codependent upon me, and she never felt truly valued. So, trauma bonding ended up happening. And this was before we were even old enough to recognize what trauma bonding was. So fast forward, my mother ended up leaving. I'm from Virginia. My mother ended up leaving Virginia and moving her and my little brother to Oklahoma. So circumstances had got really, really bad. We had lost our home, we lost our car, we lost everything due to her not being able to find steady work. And so she had to pack up and leave. And my uncle, who was in the military, had a home in Oklahoma, and he told her to pack up her kids and come on and try to figure out what you want to do. So my mother took the opportunity to go. When she left, I stayed. I didn't want to go to Oklahoma because all of my friends, everything that I knew was just in Virginia. So I stayed. And when she left, I stayed in that abandoned apartment for a few days, almost a week. And she was like, you have to leave that apartment and you have to figure out what you're going to do. And so I asked one of my friends who's actually on here, that will probably see this, Sabri. I asked her if I could come and stay with her. And Sabri, she had lost her mother. She was a single mom with my goddaughter, Destiny. Destiny's on here too, so she'll probably end up seeing this. And I went and lived with them for an extensive part of time while my mother was in Oklahoma, because I just did not see myself leaving my environment. And if you notice, like, product of your environment, not taking a leap on yourself, all of these things continue to play a factor in this story. But so me and my mother kept talking back and forth on the phone because we were extremely close. And she would call me. She was like, I want you to come. I need you to come. I want you to come. You should come so that way you can see something different outside of that. But then she convinced me that it was an opportunity for me to go. So I told her I would come. And then I just didn't want to be a burden on Sabri anymore, my friend anymore, to be staying with her. And she's still trying to raise her daughter and all these other things. So eventually I made the decision to go ahead and leave Virginia after living there my whole life. So at 19/20 years old, I left. And that was my first time ever living outside of anywhere. So going to Oklahoma was a culture shock for me. It was so different. I still stayed pretty close with the other friend, and me and Sabri kind of drifted apart, but we are reconnected now. And while I was there, I started getting into fashion and just figuring out things that I wanted to do as far as that. And that's how I started to get into fashion photography, fashion styling, and all these other things, was living in Oklahoma. And so fast forward, my mother ended up dying from lupus at the age of 25. Well, I was 24, about to turn 25. My mother ended up passing away from lupus, and my little brother was turning, I believe, 15 at the time. And it was unfortunate and it was sudden. It was something that we didn't expect. I remember in that time, like, seeing her get sicker and sicker. She ended up having, lupus is an autoimmune disease, and so she ended up having a stroke one day in the bathroom as me and my brother were at work and at school, and my brother came home and found her. So after she passed, my uncle, who's no longer alive any longer, who was her brother, he was a retired veteran from the military, but he was also a very unfunctional alcoholic. So me and my brother could not stay there any longer. So I made the decision to move me and my brother to Texas, to Dallas. And funny enough, my brother's dad, who was my stepdad, he lived in Dallas too, in Arlington. So we went there. I took us there, and me and him decided that we were going to co-parent. So we moved there. And that's when things really started to get shifty into the story. So I will continue this part in the next part. Hold on.
We all are having a tough time right now. We just need to keep pushing forward. What do you think? Comment down below, and thank you for your time.